Should you rent first or should you buy when you're moving to Phoenix? Today I'm going to talk about that. I get lots of calls and emails from you guys all the time saying, hey, we might rent before we come, we just don't know. But I want to talk about kind of the ins and outs of that and maybe whether you should or should not rent before you buy. So stick around and we'll get started right now. So you're thinking about renting a home when you first move to Scottsdale. Lots of people think that's a great idea, but wait, maybe not so good. Let's talk about why. What's the biggest reason for people wanting to do this? Really, if we're honest, I think people are afraid of making a mistake. Same reason people don't get married and they date each other for years. It's the whole commitment thing. People don't like the idea of locking themselves into a home forever. Maybe it's because you get a 30-year mortgage, I don't know. But what you need to understand is it's not a lifetime commitment. You can sell that home anytime you want. So if you think you want to rent first, I want you to know that the cost of renting a home in the Phoenix area went up a whopping 19 to 28% in 2021 over 2020. Scottsdale was equally crazy with 24% and Gilbert was around 25%. So in Arizona, we do not have rent controls of any sort. If you're coming from an area where that's in place, we don't have that. Rents can be whatever the market will bear. And right now, with the number of people relocating the valley on a daily basis, as you know from watching my other videos, that's not forecasted to go down anytime in the near future. Sometimes some people are a little concerned about, I don't know, the areas, where will I live? My thought is come here, come house hunting 1, 2, 3 times, whatever it takes. We can take a few days to look around. That's why my team and I work the entire valley. Sometimes people will call saying they want to live in one area and end up on the total opposite end of the city. They just might know somebody who said, oh, we moved to Gilbert and it's the best place. We love North Scottsdale, it's the best place. You have to think about what is the best place for you. What we do is tour you through all the neighborhoods in your price range, point out the features, what's close, maybe healthcare, outdoor activities, whatever's important to you and your family, and then we will nail down the area that you want to buy your home in. Now, if you decide to rent for a year, let's think about this. It's quick and it's easy. A lot of apartments will give you the first month free. They have all these incentives. Well, just know they've taken that first year, if it's $2,400 or the first month, I should say, they're going to divide that by 12 and you're going to pay $200 more per month on your rent than you would have if they didn't give you that so-called free month. Nothing is free right now in real estate. Let me tell you, there's always a cost, especially with big property management companies. So once you get settled, you're going to probably do some decorating. You're going to buy things to go on that perfect wall that will never go right on the wall in your next apartment, your next house, your next condo. So there's money down the drain. Then you've got all of your setup fees for different services, cable, all of that. Then when you decide to finally buy a home, you're going to have to pay to move. Good luck on the second floor getting guys to move you out in July. They tend to frown when you call and say, oh yeah, I need to move out of a second floor apartment. It doesn't make them happy. So that is an added expense that you're going to have. The other thing that a lot of people do that I see is when you move into that new apartment or rental home, people always go, they buy furniture on payment plans, financed, they might need a new car. That may eventually affect your credit scores and your debt to income ratio. So a year later, when you want to buy something, you might not be able to qualify for quite as much as you would have if you would have just bought to begin with. Now, just for round number sake, I want to give you some actual figures from certain parts of town, certain neighborhoods. In the 85254 zip code, which is what we locals call the magic zip code, because you're in Phoenix, Texas, but it's a Scottsdale address. In 2020, the average price was about $622,550. In 2021, it's just over $837,000. So waiting a year would have cost you just over $200,000 in potential equity. Let's say worst case, you had bought that house and then you decided you hated that area and you wanted to sell it. You could have made $200,000 on the sale of your home. Now let's take another area called Tatum Ranch, which is in the Cave Creek zip code 85331. Again, these aren't super scientific appraisals that I did. I just looked up all the homes in the neighborhood with at least 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I computed an average sales price. So for 2020, the average sales price for Tatum Ranch was about $459.42. For 2021, it's about $67,000 more in just a year. So had you decided to buy instead of rent, $67,000 is a lot of money that you would have made versus lost by renting in the same neighborhood, actually. Now, one of the big reasons that people decide to rent, well, there's several big reasons, but probably the biggest is they say, oh, I just don't know the neighborhoods. We want to take a year and kind of get our bearings. That's all well and good, but like I mentioned before, there is a cost to that. And depending on where you want to live, it is a big cost. The key is to do your research before you relocate. Now, one reason that you may decide that you want to rent is if you're going to build a new home. That will take anywhere from 12 to 14 to 16 months. Sometimes they promise 12 and it's generally 14 or 16 months. Somehow 12 when you're in the builder rep's office sounds a lot nicer than 16. It can turn into quite a long delay these days depending on supply chain issues and labor. But in the meantime, you can rent while you wait for your new home to be built. I recommend, though, if you own a home where you're coming from and you're not forced to get here, like for a job or something, that you should keep your current home, wherever that is. Keep building equity in that property so that you can be making money while you're waiting for the new home to be built. There is just one tiny catch on that, though. You do need to be able to qualify for the new property without selling the old one. So there are different things that we can do to make that work. The key is to talk to me and a qualified mortgage professional. If you don't have one, I do have quite a few that you could talk to and see what they say about your qualifications. It's very likely with today's low interest rates that you will be able to keep your current home and qualify for your new loan. So let's work on some different scenarios to make that happen. Now, all of this really is a puzzle that just needs to be put together to get all of your pieces in the right place. I recommend giving me a call early or as soon as you think you're going to move, or even if you're comparing areas, maybe you're looking at Texas, you're looking at Nashville, you're looking at Arizona, and let's start looking at all of the data to make the best choice for you. Now, if you're somebody that just got a job and you have to be here in 2 weeks, do not panic. Please don't panic. If it is a normal time of year, meaning not the super high winter season, we can likely find you an affordable vacation rental situation where you can park yourself for a few months and then be able to look at your leisure. So you don't feel like you have to buy the first house you see, but we can take a little bit of time on your days off, look at neighborhoods, explore all the options, and help that work into your plan for you and your life. The key, though, is that you do need to make the call to me as soon as possible so we can get started on putting all of those puzzle pieces into place. Now, for some people, renting is the only and probably the best option. That would be someone who right now, for whatever reason, has a lot of debt, or you've had some credit issues. Maybe you had some medical bills that you didn't pay off and you've just got some dings on your credit because of that. We can help you work through that to get you to the point where you can qualify for something. There are lots of additional programs for lending that might work. Maybe you don't have a job yet, but you've got good assets. We can find ways for you to qualify. Don't think that you have to rent just because you don't have a job right now. We might be able to do a temporary financing, maybe for a year or so, to get you into the property and protect your price, and then move into a more conventional type of financing at a later date. So if you're somebody who's trying to save a down payment, I get calls from a lot of people who say, well, we're saving and saving. We're going to be a few years before we get the 20%. You don't need 20% down. You can get into home FHA with 3.5% down. There are some 0% down programs for first-time home buyers, 5% down. We can ask the seller to pay the closing costs. In today's market, the problem is while you're saving for that 20%, the price is going up faster than you can save, unless you have some big windfall coming or you've got a serious side hustle going on, which I do recommend, by the way. If you want a side hustle, call me. I'll give you some ideas. I'm the queen of side hustles. So there are ways to get money for your down payment. Even if you're starting with zero, there are quick and easy ways that you can do that. The big key is we have to source that money. So don't think you're going to have the mother of all garage sales and come up magically with your down payment. We have to be able to source that with the lender. So if you think you can do that, call me. I'll tell you how to do it. And then we can move forward with your loan. But there's always a way to do it. So don't feel like if you're in a situation right now that that's going to knock you out of the market. Chances are that it's not. We can make it work. I see it time and time again. And we've all been there. You know, nobody has perfect credit. Well, every now and then I see somebody, but I have to wonder if they've really lived or not. But there's no shame in that. If you've got some dings or if you're just in some financial challenges, just give me a call and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to work your way out of that. So let's talk about a real life scenario that I got to be a part of. About a year and a half ago, my niece decided she wanted to buy a condo. We found a cute little condo, not in her dream neighborhood, but it was in the neighborhood she could afford. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2nd floor, very cute inside, priced at $160,000. At the very same time, her friend was looking also. I showed condo after condo to her, but she just couldn't pull the trigger. Why? Fear of commitment. Just like I said before, the same people who date somebody for life and can't get married, they don't want to make a mistake. Maybe they've been burned before. Trust me, you won't be burned now if you approach this in the right way. It comes down to your criteria. What do you want? And what are the costs currently? People won't buy because they feel like, oh, I have to get, the laundry room at the right angle, while they're renting and taking their laundry to another building, which is exactly what that girl was doing. Bless her heart. She just could not commit. She's still renting to this day. Meanwhile, my niece, who paid $160,000, is now been saving for her second condo, and she'll have a big down payment when she sells the first condo, which today's market value is $200,000. So she's up $40,000 while her friend is up $0 and every year pays more money on her rent. You do the math on that and let me know what you think. The key here is to just get started. Get started with what? Get started with the planning. Let's have a conversation or 2 or 3 and a visit or 2 or 3 to discuss what might work best for you and your plan. It might be that you should rent very short term. I wouldn't do it for more than a few months. Or it may be that you are going to have to rent and continue saving just a little bit. And again, I'll give you those ideas on ways to make money on the side to fund that down payment. Or maybe you need to stay in your current home while you're building a new home. All of those things can come into play. We just need to talk to figure out which scenario will work best for you. So again, please reach out and I hope to be talking to you very soon.